Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for this little mini edition of the Cancer Coach Talks. Normally, I do these talks at like 6 p.m. Central Time here on Tuesdays. But today is a very special day, being New Year's Eve and entering into a new decade, leaving a decade and entering into a new decade. And I really wanted to take a little bit of time to share with you something that I think is incredibly important as we think about coming into 2020. And let me introduce myself super fast and then we'll talk about what that thing is. My name is Leslie Nance. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist, certified holistic cancer coach, the founder of Any Stage Cancer Nutrition Protocol. And a lot of times, the person that's responding to your comments on the page, we do have some admins that do some of that work for us. But really, the number one point person when it comes to serving you and working with you through your cancer journey. And I realize a lot of you are going to be watching this in replay and not be here live with us. So we're just going to get right down to business. So I think that it's really important to have the discussion with ourselves when we enter into something as significant as 2020, because it signifies a new, that was Penny in the curtains, by the way. It signifies a transition that is rather significant in our minds, not necessarily in time or space, but in our minds when we think about entering 2020. It sounds like something really big and really powerful. And there's no reason why we can't harness that energy and use it to our advantage. So, probably one of the most popular things besides eating black eyed peas on New Year's Day is to make a New Year's resolution. And I have so many clients that talk to me, and a lot of people here in our community that talk about having a New Year's resolution. And, that may be the furthest thing from your mind right now if you're dealing with active cancer or you're in active cancer treatments or something like that. But let me tell you that I would say a large percentage of people they become resolute about having something particular happen in their life in the new year. And so it signifies a fresh beginning and a fresh start. And so, what I want to talk to you about today is the fact that you don't need a stinking resolution. Let's just put it out there because resolutions do not work. It's a huge percentage of people that make a New Year's resolution within 2 weeks to 4 weeks. There's tons of studies about this. Within 2 to 4 weeks of making that resolution, they are already completely off the track. And there nothing that they wanted to accomplish has been accomplished. And there's one main reason that is. And that reason is because you are not clear about why you want that thing in your life. So you don't need a resolution. You need some clarity. You need an understanding with yourself about not only what you want to happen, but why you want it to happen. And when I'm working with my clients, one of the big things that we do, one of the biggest mindset exercises that almost every single person goes through is making a declaration, is claiming our right to healing our body and healing our life. Really, it's healing our life so that our body will follow along. But if you're not clear about why you plan on working really hard to achieve that, it is going to make it almost impossible to achieve. And so you don't need a resolution, you need clarity. You need to get super clear on why you want this particular thing. For some of us, it's to never have cancer again. For some of us, it's to start eating a better diet. For some of us, it's to get exercise. For some of us, it's to find a relationship. For some of us, it is finding a new job. Others may want to heal relationships in their lives. Maybe you want to get rid of a nasty habit. But it's not enough to say, I am going to do this thing. The true change comes when you fully understand why you are making that change. What does it benefit in your life? Who does it benefit in your life? That is the power in that change. You want to stick with the plan, you want to stick with an idea. There is the golden ticket. That is the key that unlocks that door. When you keep your goals firmly in front of you at all times, you have a pathway that is illuminated to the thing that you want very most in your life, whatever that thing is. And I'm not just going to narrow this down to cancer. I'm going to say whatever that thing is that you want in your life, you have that opportunity by keeping that goal in front of you at all times. And what you may be asking, well, how do I do that, Leslie? What is that? How do I accomplish that? What does that even mean, keeping my goal in front of me? That means that you are repeating that information to yourself on a daily basis, sometimes multiple times a day. I'll just share with you one of my biggest goals in life. One of my biggest goals in life is to help millions of people transition out of living a life with cancer and transition into a life without cancer. Now, some people call that healing. Some people call that remission. There are about 1 billion words for that. But really, I try to help people heal their lives so that their bodies will follow in that pursuit. Because as we begin to work on, hi Roger, as we begin to work on healing our lives, our body wants to follow in that pursuit. But unless we know why we are doing it, it's an impossibility to reach that goal. And so repeating that information to yourself on a daily basis, if you're one of my clients, you know what this looks like. You're repeating that information. You are solidifying in your gray matter that this is the thing you want and this is why I want it. And when you achieve that, and when it manifests itself in your life, you're going to be like, that works. And I'll never forget the first time that this happened to me. I was just like, oh my gosh. So this is kind of a crazy little goal that I had. So when I first started my business, I was a food blogger. And I transitioned from having a food blog where we had YouTube videos. And if you haven't checked out our YouTube videos, it's at go2kitchens.com, go2kitchens.com. And a lot of these videos are there actually, so you can go check those out as well. The replays of these videos are there. But anyway, one of my big goals was to grow my food blog in a way that was incredibly meaningful, reaching thousands of people with information about healing their body through the food that they ate. And I didn't know what that path looked like. I just knew that I had a really deep desire. I didn't need the details of how it was going to happen to make it happen. I just needed to know that the desire was there, and I needed to understand why it was important that I achieved this in my life. And so some of it was for purely selfish reasons, to retire my husband from his work so that he didn't have to work so hard. And if he wanted to work, awesome. And if he didn't want to, awesome. One of my goals in that was to share what I knew about the body healing from the information that we give it through food. That was very important to me. One of my goals was to have the freedom to be able to move about the world and still do my work freely. And so we went from a food blog into a live cooking show called Lunch with Leslie. And when I started, that started very quickly after I started my food blog. And when we made that transition and I started doing the live show, I wanted to be able to offer the information free to my audience, but somehow still make an income. And I needed to figure out what that looked like. And so that was a huge goal for me. So I repeated to myself every single day, this is the desire, this is what I want, this is what I need. And here's all the reasons, personal and business reasons, that I want this to happen. And sure enough, what happened is I got this wild, crazy idea that if there was commercials on TV, that there could be commercials on my live streaming show. And so I started pursuing some natural food companies and natural product companies to advertise on my show. And they would send me products and they paid me money. And I made a really good living doing that. And I manifested that. And I didn't need to know how I was going to get there. I just needed to know why I wanted to get there and that I wanted to get there. And so I kept that goal in front of me at all times. Now, during that process, I had the benefit of being able to start my education to become a cancer coach, to become a holistic nutritionist. I was afforded that luxury because thank you, babe. My time was freed up in the afternoons, especially to be able to do that work. And so it was incredibly powerful to see that manifestation happen in my life. And I remember thinking, wow, this stuff really works. Like if you are super clear about why you want what you want, and you repeat that information to yourself daily and you live your life as if it's already happened, it happens. Because the physical body, the physical energy that is in this planet and within you catches up to the energy that is in your brain, that your brain is generating. Now, not everything that I have wanted has manifested itself. A lot of things have. I would say a good portion of those things that I wanted to be able to coach people one-on-one. I had no idea how to do that. I had no idea how to set up a business to do that. But I did it. I didn't need to know how to do it. I just needed to know that I wanted it. And the reasons that I wanted it, and it showed up. I've also done this in my physical life, in my healing of my own body. I know very firmly about why I want to live. And it's not even purpose. I mean, I do have a massive purpose, I feel like, in my life that has come from my cancer diagnosis. But it's not even that. It's just having a really good understanding about what is important to me. So you don't need a resolution. You need clarity. You want the thing that you want, then you need to understand why. And let me say another thing about this. If you begin to act as if it has already happened, it will happen. And I'm not talking about being foolish. I'm not talking about saying I want $1 million and going out and trying to buy a house that somebody that had $1 million would try to buy. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about ditching your I'm not talking about ditching your treatments because you're acting as if you don't have cancer anymore. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is imagining daily what your life is like when you have achieved that goal in your life. I visualize every single day what my life is like when I've reached millions of people, helping them heal their body. I imagine what it's like being on stage with thousands of people sitting in an auditorium and showing them what I know about healing the body. I see their individual faces. I act as if it has already happened. And it's not for fame or fortune or any of those things. It is out of a deep desire, a clear goal of truly walking towards my purpose at all times. And when that happens, nothing can get in your way. When you empower your mind on that level, nothing. Let me say that again. When you empower your mind on that level, nothing can get in your way. So you don't need a resolution. You need clarity. You need an understanding of why you are working so hard. For some of my clients, it's about their family. For some of my clients, it's about them personally. For some of my clients, it's because they want to take their their family on a cruise through the what is it called? The Rhine River. I have one client that's her big dream is to take her entire family on a Rhine River cruise. She's been on one before, and she's like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen, and that she's going to be alive to see it happen. And I think there's one other caveat that I want to talk about here. And I think that people get caught up in the things that if they desire something that's material, like a new car or a beach house or a remodeled kitchen or I don't know, whatever it is, whatever that thing is, I think that they feel like it's selfish if they put all that energy into that thing, that it becomes silly, like it's silly. But we want what we want. Just because you don't say it out loud doesn't mean that you don't want a new car or a beach house. You probably still want those things. And so it's okay to have some of those things in your life, to have some of those desires. That anticipation of acquiring something like that is really, really an amazing feeling. In fact, there's a saying that says that anticipation is better than acquisition. I actually disagree with that a little bit. But anticipation is amazing. One of the best parts of going on vacation is planning the vacation. That's like half the fun. Half the fun of getting well, of healing, is planning how that's going to happen and doing that work to create that evidence in your life that it's possible. When you focus on you and you pay attention to the needs that you have, I know this is hard for some of you. It's hard for a lot of my clients. It's very hard for them to say out loud what they want in their lives. But when they do that and they are super clear about why they are working so hard, why they're doing the mindset work, why they have overhauled their complete diet, why they are doing chemotherapy, why they're having surgery, why they're doing radiation, why they're taking these drugs, why they're doing all of this stuff. Because believe it or not, just to stay alive is not a big enough reason. You need to understand why you are doing this. And once you understand that, the journey becomes something possible. Anything that you can dream up in your mind is possible. The universe has organized us in a way that anything that you can create in your mind is possible on some level. Don't limit yourself. Anytime you become a better you, you're benefiting everybody around you. As you raise your energy levels, and I'm not talking about physical energy, I'm talking about spiritual energy, I'm talking about emotional energy. As you raise those levels to a higher plane, everyone around you begins to benefit. Because guess what happens? When you're not freaking out, nobody else around you is freaking out. When you say with confidence, I have this under control, I am making steps so that I never have cancer again, people believe you because you have the conviction inside of you and the confidence and the evidence that anything is possible, no matter what the doctors say, no matter what your brain tries to tell you, no matter how you're feeling in the moment. Anything is possible. Knowing why you want what you want in your life, whether it's to lose 20 pounds in the new year, whether it's to never have cancer again, whether it's to heal cancer naturally, whether it is to get a new car or a new job or find a spouse. Whatever you want in your life only comes from one thing, and that's not a resolution. That is total clarity about why you want that thing in your life. When you dig into that, when you're brave enough to say the reasons you want the thing that you want, it begins to show up. Amazing things begin to happen in your life. But this is a repetition. You have to repeat this information. Some people work for years. There's a story about a woman that worked for years. Every time she would go to the doctor would say, "I'm sorry, but your cancer's still there. It's not growing, but it's still there." "Okay, thank you." Just checking in. And she worked for years on her mindset, aligning what her body needed to heal. And one day she found the silver bullet. One day she got what she needed. And she went to the doctor, and the doctor says, "Your cancer is shrinking." And the next time she went, it was even smaller. And the next time she went, it was even smaller. But all of these tools lined up in front of themselves because she was super clear about why she wanted what she wanted. And she repeated that information to herself daily. She told herself, she visualized herself without cancer. She thought about what it was going to feel like the day that the doctor, she obsessed about it. The doctor said, "You don't have cancer anymore. You're in remission. You're cancer free." She obsessed about having that information and being told that, and thinking about what that day was going to be like. Her goals were planted firmly in front of her, and she knew why she wanted what she wanted. Now, she is not special. There's nothing special about her. She is just an ordinary human like you and me. But she had a clear understanding about why she was fighting so hard. Part of it was to do with her children, who were very young at the time. Part of it was to do with needing an income. Her husband had died tragically, and he'd actually killed himself, and she needed an income. And and she had all these other health problems piled on top of each other. But she kept looking for resources, and she never gave up. What happens if you never give up? What happens if you say, "I am not ever giving up. I believe that this is possible. I fully believe that I will never have cancer again. I fully expect to live to be 125 years old. I know." And I fully expect to be well living that long. I fully expect my body to remain healed, despite the pain that I have in my hip right now because I pulled a muscle working out. But, despite all of that, I truly believe and understand my body's capabilities, and I have my goals firmly planted in front of me with the clarity that I need to reach them. And once you understand that, sky's the limit. You get to pick. This comes from repetition. This comes from conditioning. This comes from exercising that muscle. You can't just show up one day to a gym and say, "I want biceps," and do one exercise and expect to have biceps the next day. It doesn't work that way. You have to condition that muscle. You have to condition it daily to get the thing that you want. But if you understand why you want the biceps, even if it's selfish, even if it's so you can wear sleeveless blouses and have guns, once you understand that, it makes it much easier to reach that goal when you know why you want what you want. All right. So there you go. Happy New Year's, everybody. I hope that you've had, I know that some of you are in turmoil that are watching this right now. Despite all of that, I hope you can truly find the blessings that 2019 gave you in your life. And looking forward into 2020 and imagining and seeing what your life is like. Visualize what 2021 looks like. That it's this time next year. What have you achieved in your life? What were you able to accomplish in that time period? Once you have the wisdom and the understanding and the knowledge of those things, imagine what is possible. I believe in you 100%. I know that cancer is not your destiny. If you want to take a deeper dive into this, and you're like, Leslie, this is all great, but I need somebody to help me with this because I don't understand what I'm doing. I've tried all kinds of things like this and none of it's worked. I need somebody to help me. Hello, I'm your girl. I'm your girl. I promise to stand beside you and walk you through this information and get you to that place where you have total clarity about your goals in your life and utilizing that information to propel you forward. Not to keep you stuck, not to set you back, but to propel you forward and give you evidence that your body is designed for healing. Okay, guys, Happy New Year to you. Be safe out there. If you're celebrating outside of your home, please be careful. Don't drink and drive. Just need to say that out loud. Please, there are plenty of places offering free rides. Call somebody, phone a friend. Please don't take chances with your life that are not necessary. It is a gift. It is a precious resource, and we only get one time to experience it. And so don't take chances with it. It's not worth it. I love you guys very much. I will see you next Tuesday for the Cancer Coach Talks at 6 p.m. Central Time. Until then, have an amazing week to come, and I look forward to seeing you again as always. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining in live today. Bye.